Students, let's continue with the chemical properties of metal, in which we have done two of the property, that is reaction of metal with oxygen and then formation of oxide. Here we also done the nature, or to see the nature of the metal oxide. Means whenever we are having any of the metallic oxide, they are basic in nature. When we dissolve it into the water, it releases hydroxide ion, which proves the basic nature of metallic oxide. Second, that also we have done that reaction of metal with hydrogen. Only few of the metals are able to react with hydrogen and formation of hydride takes place. Next, reaction of metal with water, that is formation of oxide and hydroxide. It depends on the reactivity of metal. The metal which is very reactive in nature, they form hydroxide when react with water, but there are some metals which are not as much reactive like aluminum and iron. So whenever we are dissolving this type of metal into the water, they are going to form oxide because of the formation of layer of oxygen. That's why it do not allow the water molecule to react further, and formation of hydroxide do not takes place. These things we have done in the previous class. Today we have to start with the reaction of metal with acids. So what happen whenever we are doing the reaction between metal and acid? This is very important because practically also we have to do this reaction, because whenever we are putting any of the metal into acid, like here mostly the common acid which we are taking is hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. So if we put sodium into acid, then what will be the product? Here it forms salt with the release of hydrogen gas. And we know, how do we able to know that which type of gas is evolving? So because hydrogen gas, it always burn with a popping sound. So whenever the popping sound comes, when we keep matchstick in the mouth of the test tube, if popping sound comes, it shows the presence of hydrogen gas. So on putting any of the metal into acid, this metal is going to displace hydrogen from its place and make a salt with chlorine or whatever the acid we will be taking. Like if we dissolve magnesium into sulfuric acid, so here once again magnesium is able to displace hydrogen. So this type of reaction is also called to be as displacement reaction, that we have done in chapter 1. Okay, so magnesium, because magnesium is more reactive than hydrogen, and magnesium is present in the reactivity series above hydrogen, that's why magnesium is able to displace hydrogen and take its place, and then formation of salt, that is magnesium sulfate, by the removal of hydrogen gas takes place. One more reaction here we are having, that is calcium. When we put calcium into hydrochloric acid, again calcium is able to replace hydrogen and take its place, and formation of calcium chloride plus hydrogen gas takes place. Okay, so these are the metal. If the metal have the ability to displace hydrogen, and if it is present above hydrogen, then it can displace it and formation of salt takes place. Okay, but here we have some metals which are present below uh, hydrogen, that is not able to displace hydrogen. And if we will be doing the reaction between these type of uh, compound, means a metal, like if we will be taking silver, and if we are dissolving silver into hydrochloric acid, so there will be no reaction takes place, because silver is less reactive than hydrogen. That's why it do not have the ability to displace hydrogen from its place, and the formation of compound do not takes place. Okay, so here see, whatever the metal is given in the above reaction, these all are called to be as electropositive in nature. So what do you mean by electropositivity? So electropositivity means the metal which are able to release their electron. So all the metals, they are able to release electron, but few metals, because of their bigger size, they can release their electron very easily. That's why they are called to be as most reactive in nature. Okay. Now see, here one question asked that whenever we are talking about the reaction of metal with acid, mostly we are talking about hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, but we do not take nitric acid. So what is the reason behind that? Because these three acids are the most common acid that we people are using in many of the reactions. But out of these all, we are mostly taking only sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid. So why we do not take nitric acid? What is the reason behind that? So because nitric acid is taken as a strong oxidizing agent. So being a strong oxidizing agent, what do you mean by oxidizing agent? Because you people are knowing about the meaning of oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Okay, so because nitric acid, it is a very good oxidizing agent. So as any other metal react with the nitric acid, they suddenly convert the hydrogen gas into water molecule. That's why do not release hydrogen gas. And for the reaction of any of the metal and acid, it is necessary that the whatever the compound is going to form, it release hydrogen gas, because here the removal of hydrogen has to take place. But here, because nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent, it do not let the formation of hydrogen takes place. It suddenly get convert the hydrogen into water molecule. That's why we are not taking nitric acid for all the reaction. But there are few metals, like we can take zinc and sodium. These sodium or magnesium, I think, yes, zinc or magnesium, these are the two metal which shows reaction with the nitric acid. But here the condition is that the nitric acid is to be very much diluted. It means only 5% of nitric acid you have to take, and rest 95% you have to take water. Because if these are present in the concentrated form, see, this is the example. Here we have zinc plus nitric acid. Because here nitric acid, it is concentrated nitric acid. That's why, because of strong oxidizing nature of the nitric acid, it do not allow the hydrogen gas to pass, because it suddenly get combined with the hydrogen gas and formation of water molecule takes place. That's why for the reaction of zinc or magnesium with the nitric acid, here we have to dilute nitric acid with 95 percentage of water and 5% of nitric acid. Then only they form hydrogen gas. See second example, in which we are having magnesium react with nitric acid, and then formation of magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen gas takes place. Why here hydrogen gas is released? Because this nitric acid is very much diluted. Okay, so this is the very common question that is mostly asked, that why we do not use nitric acid for the reaction of metal with acid. So this reason you have to write, because of the strong oxidizing nature of nitric acid, it oxidize hydrogen into water molecule. That's why we do not use nitric acid for reaction between metal and acid. Okay, now moving to the next topic, that is reaction of metal with the solution of other metal salt. Reaction of metal, it means that whenever we are taking metal and another we are taking metal solution of any metal, like zinc is a metal, zinc sulfate is the solution of metal, or copper sulfate, silver nitrate, these all are the solution of what? These all are the solution of metal. So if we are putting any of the metal into the solution of metal, then what type of reaction takes place? So here also the reaction which is going to take place is called to be as displacement reaction. Like if you will be taking zinc and putting this zinc into the solution of copper sulfate. So we know that zinc is more reactive than copper. That's why zinc has the ability to displace copper from its place, and then formation of zinc sulfate takes place by the removal of copper. Here we can take some more example for this one. Like you are having your, if you are having NCERT book, then in this one also one very common example is given, that is in which iron, if we are taking copper sulfate solution, so we know that the solution color is blue. Copper sulfate solution, it is blue in color. So as we are putting iron nail into the copper sulfate solution, slowly what we people are observing, that the color of the copper sulfate is going to change from blue to green. It shows change in color, also shows some type of reaction took place, isn't it? So this shows that copper is being displaced by the iron, and iron is going to form a new compound that is called as iron sulfate by the removal of copper. Okay, so this is the reaction in which if the metal is more reactive than the solution of the metal, then it has the ability to displace the metal from its compound and make its own bond. But if the metal, if we try to do the reverse reaction of this one, in which zinc displaces copper and formation of zinc sulfate plus copper takes place, if we will be doing the reverse of this one, So it do not take place because copper is less reactive than zinc. That's why copper cannot displace zinc from its place, and then the reaction do not takes place. Okay, so a metal placed higher in the reactivity series can displace the metal which occupy a lower position from the aqueous solution of its salt. But the less reactive metal can displace more reactive metal from its means if the any of the metal is less reactive, then it cannot displace more reactive metal from its salt solution. Okay, now these are all about the chemical properties of metal. Now we have to start the chemical properties of non-metal. We know that though we are having less number of non-metals in our atmosphere, then also these non-metals have lots of importance in our daily life, that already we have discussed, like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen and water combination of hydrogen and oxygen combination of this one is taken as water, and we know what is the importance of water. Oxygen is also non-metal, and without oxygen we cannot survive. Nitrogen is what? It is also non-metal, and which is very essential for the growth of plant. It means all the non-metals have lots of importance in our daily life. So let's see the chemical properties of non-metals. So we know that non-metals, because non-metals according to the electronic configuration of non-metal, when we are seeing the electronic configuration, what we found, like we have start non-metals from carbon. Okay, if we are seeing the second period, it is carbon, then we have nitrogen, then oxygen, and then fluorine. These all are the non-metals. So when we see the electronic configuration of this one, carbon, it has 4 electron in its outermost shell. So to attain stability or to get noble gas configuration, carbon need to take 4 more electron to become stable. So either carbon can lose 4 or carbon can gain 4. But the ability of carbon is not that much that it can lose 4 or it can also not gain 4. That's why carbon is going to share its 4 electron to become stable. Okay, next we have nitrogen to get stability, it needs 3 more electron. That's why nitrogen is having 3 negative charge, because nitrogen is going to gain 3 electron to become stable. Okay, and then formation of 3 minus charge takes place. But mostly whenever we are talking about the non-metals are always preferred to make covalent bond whenever they combine with itself. Means whenever non-metal combine with the non-metal, because non-metal are not going to give electron to anyone. Okay, so whenever the combination of non-metal with non-metal takes place, they form covalent bond. But if non-metal combine with the metal, so metals are the losers and the non-metals are the acceptors. So that's why here whatever the bond is going to form is called to be as ionic or electrostatic bond. All the metals are called to be as electropositive in nature, and all the non-metals are called to be as electronegative in nature. So what do you mean by electropositivity and electronegativity? Electropositivity means the one which can lose their electron, that are called to be as electropositive. Means all the metal have the tendency to lose the electron, that's why metals are called to be as electropositive in nature. But all the non-metals are able to accept the electron, that's why they are called to be as electronegative in nature, in which fluorine is taken as the highest electronegative uh, tendency, means highest electronegative element. Why? Because it has the ability to attract the electron towards itself very easily because of the smaller size of fluorine. Okay, now let's start with the first property of the non-metal, first chemical property of the non-metal. It is also same. If you understood about the property of the metal, then it will be very easier for you people to understood this also, because here also we are going to do the reaction of non-metal with oxygen, that we have done already. Reaction of metal with oxygen, then formation of oxide takes place. Here also these non-metal are going to form oxide, but the metal oxide is called to be as metallic oxide, this non-metal oxide is called to be as non-metallic oxide. But see here, if we are reacting carbon with oxygen, it is going to form carbon dioxide, sulfur with oxygen, then sulfur dioxide, phosphorus with oxygen, then it form phosphorus pentaoxide. Means all these non-metals are going to react with the oxygen, then the formation of oxide takes place. But the important thing is what? The most important thing is that there are something like on heating any few of the non-metal, like upon heating with oxygen in the presence of vanadium oxide or vanadium pentaoxide catalyst, to about 723 Kelvin, sulfur dioxide is oxidized to sulfur trioxide. This thing people, there is no need to know about this one. Here we only know the nature of the oxide. Like nature of metallic oxide also we have checked on by dissolving the metallic oxide into water. Okay, on dissolving metallic oxide into water, they release hydroxide ion. So, because of the presence of hydroxide ion, the basic character of this metallic oxide is proved. But here we have non-metallic oxide. So, to check the nature of the non-metallic oxide, we have to dissolve these non-metallic oxide into water. So, what will be the product? The product is going to decide the nature of the oxide. So when we dissolve carbon dioxide is non-metallic oxide because carbon is non-metal, and when carbon react with oxygen they form non-metallic oxide. Whenever we are dissolving these non-metallic oxide into water, it release what? It release carbonic acid. Here we have H2CO3, that is the formula of carbonic acid. So here we have H plus ion, and H plus ion shows the presence of acid. It means they are acidic in nature. Again, on dissolving sulfur dioxide into water, it produces sulfurous acid. Again here we are having H positive ions. Because of the presence of positive ion or H plus ion, it is also shows its acidic nature. Now phosphorus pentaoxide dissolve into water, then it forms phosphoric acid. This also shows the nature, acidic nature of non-metallic oxide. So it means that all the non-metallic oxide, whenever dissolving into water, they release whatever the compound they are going to form. These compound have the ability to release H plus ion. That's why they shows acidic nature. See, but we have few oxides which do not dissolve into the water. Okay, what are these? Like we have studied that the oxides of metals are generally basic in nature, while those of non-metals are acidic in nature. There are certain oxides which show both basic and acidic character. These oxides are called to be as amphoteric oxide. Okay, for example, like there are certain oxide which do not dissolve either into the means which do not dissolve into the water, and they do not show the basic or the acidic character. So what will be the characteristic of, or what will be the nature of this one? So they are going to show amphoteric nature. Amphoteric nature means the metal or the oxide which do not shows basic or acidic character, but they have the ability to dissolve in both into the acid and the base both. So this type of oxide is called to be as amphoteric in nature. Like zinc oxide, zinc, because zinc is a metal, so it means zinc oxide should show basic character, but zinc oxide is not able to dissolve into the water. Okay, that side do not shows basic nature. So again, to check the nature of this one, here we are dissolving this zinc oxide into acid, then it forms zinc chloride plus water molecule. And again, whenever we are dissolving this zinc oxide into the strongest base, that is NaOH, sodium hydroxide, so it produce what? It produce sodium zincate, that is Na2ZnO2, by the removal of water molecule. So if any of the oxide is not dissolved into the water, then we need to dissolve this oxide into acid as well as base. And if they are going to form compound on acid and base, so they shows the amphoteric nature. Okay, so amphoteric nature means in which any of the oxide is able to dissolve into the acid and base both. Okay, now reaction of non-metal with acid. What happens when non-metals react with acid? Like sulfur, here non-metals are oxidized upon heating with concentrated sulfuric acid and concentrated nitric acid. Whenever we are putting any of the non-metal into acid, then what will be the product? Like when we put metal into acid, what happen here? The release of hydrogen gas takes place, isn't it? Salt is going to form and it releases hydrogen gas. But what happened when we are putting any non-metal into acid? So see here what is going to form. On putting any of the non-metal into acid, they are going to form their oxide by the release of water molecule. Okay, like sulfur, on dissolving into sulfuric acid, on heating it little, it produces sulfur dioxide plus water molecule. Again, on dissolving the sulfur into the nitric acid, it produces sulfuric acid plus nitrogen dioxide plus water molecule, because we know the oxidizing nature of nitric acid. Again, phosphorus react with acid, then it form phosphoric acid plus sulfur dioxide plus water molecule. Here they are not going, the thing that you people have to see is that here they are not going to release hydrogen gas. Why? Because we know that here phosphorus, hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen, or phosphorus, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, whatever the element we are using for the reaction of this non-metal and acid, they all are what? They all are non-metals, and non-metals are only the acceptor of electron. They never going to give electron to anyone. If no one is the giver, then how do they accept electron? That's why here hydrogen gas is not going to release. Here only water molecule is going to form due to the oxidizing nature of nitric acid. Okay, now reaction of non-metal with chlorine. All the non-metal have the tendency to react with chlorine. Okay, then what type of compound form? Like phosphorus, when react with chlorine, then it form phosphorus pentachloride. Sulfur, on reacting with chlorine, it form sulfur monochloride. Okay, or you can take example carbon. If carbon react with chlorine, then it form carbon tetrachloride. Or what example, like nitrogen also can react with chlorine. It means all the non-metal have the tendency to react with the chlorine, then formation of their chloride takes place, because chlorine is taken as the second most electronegative element, so it has the tendency to react with all the non-metals. Now reaction of non-metal with hydrogen. Whenever any of the non-metal react with hydrogen, then what happens? Because hydrogen is also non-metal and it is going to react with another non-metal. So non-metal and non-metal is always going to form a covalent bond. They are going to share their electron. They are not going to give electron to anyone. Okay, they both are taken as the acceptor of electron, because they both are non-metal. So because there is no one is going to give their electron, that's why they are going to share their electron, and then formation of compound takes place. Okay, so hydrogen, whenever hydrogen is going to react with any of the non-metal like sulfur, it form hydrogen sulfide. If hydrogen react with water, then it form hydrogen oxide. If hydrogen combine with nitrogen, then it form ammonia. Okay, so there are certain reaction which need certain condition for the reaction, like hydrogen combined with oxygen at the temperature of 500 degrees Celsius in the presence of catalysts like iron, then only the reaction takes place. Okay, so there are certain reaction which do not take place by their own. To consider or to start up the reaction, we need to give some extra effort. Okay, so that is called to be as formation of hydride when reaction of hydrogen and any of the non-metals takes place. So students, these are all about the properties, chemical properties of non-metal, in which we have done the reaction of non-metal with acid, with hydrogen, with chlorine. So if you will be understand these reaction, then you are able to give the answer of all the questions which will be asked related to the chemical properties of the non-metals and metals. But if still you will be getting any doubt related to the chemical properties, then kindly you people can consult me directly, because these are the very important topic, and question will surely be asked from this section. Okay, for today we have this much only. So kindly please contact me if you will be having any doubt. Thank you so much for hearing me.